Perth, a modern city, bustling with a hectic pace, yet harboring within itself silent stones that hold the shadows of time. The old structures, now mere shells, stand as silent witnesses to fractures that time cannot erase. 1. Fremantle Prison. Fremantle Prison stands silently by the sea, a sturdy stone structure that was once a fortress and a harsh prison for strangers and the forgotten. Stepping past its heavy steel door felt like passing through another dimension, not due to the antiquity or the chill of the stone, but because of the echoes of time resonating from its wall hollows. It is said that when night falls, hurried footsteps echo, as if someone still moves through the long, narrow corridors, yet no one is there. Soft whispers blend into the stillness, voices of souls yet to find peace, lingering relentlessly in the space they once called their prison. A sensation of being watched constantly engulfs you, not by a particular person, but by a suffocating atmosphere filled with untold stories. Sometimes I hear the clatter of a stone window opening, a cold wind slipping through iron bars, as if someone is sneaking out from the past. But when I look, there is only calm and darkness. Time here does not flow evenly. It shatters into disjointed fragments, making even the bricks seem to sigh. 2. The Old Perth Gaol. Not far from the city center, the Old Perth Gaol retains the dust of ages and faint rays of light filtering through small windows. This was once a place where those imprisoned were bound not only by chains, but also by their own quiet stories. As I slowly walked past the cells, the walls seemed heavy with the sighs of the past. In chambers once filled with bewildered eyes and despair, only faint white shadows flickered in fleeting moments. They do not linger, do not speak, only watch, silently, as if waiting for someone brave enough to listen. It feels as though a pair of eyes always follows, not light or shadow, but a silent presence, placing strangers like me simultaneously under observation and imprisonment in an invisible space. Sighs, tiny footsteps, and whispers as light as a breeze weave through the old objects, reminding me of one truth. The past here does not end. It lingers, intimately close yet distant. 3. Rose and Crown Hotel, Guildford. The Rose and Crown Hotel looks like a carefully preserved ancient painting, but at night, it wears another guise. A delicate garment heavy with memories and an inexplicable weight. I recall one night standing in the glossy wooden hallway that seemed utterly silent. Suddenly, a cold gust passed through, though all the windows were tightly closed. It did not flutter flags or curtains, just gently swept through the space, leaving behind a dense silence. The rooms were empty, yet seemed filled with traces of past visitors, sorrowful stories, or ghostly imprints from a past that would not let go. The hotel once witnessed whispered conversations, aimless wandering footsteps, and missed dreams. Standing there, I felt as if the very building was watching, gathering fragments of memories left on the threshold and in shadowy corners, bathed by weak light. 4. The Old Swan Barracks. On the outskirts of the city, the Old Swan Barracks was once where young soldiers trained, honing both body and spirit. Though many years have passed, the walls quietly store faint laughter, half forgotten and remaining whispers. One afternoon, by chance, I passed by at dusk, with thin mist softly covering the ground. Sounds seemed to echo from the past, gentle groans of marching footsteps, fragments of quiet chatter like comrades whispering, together creating an intangible veil, both present and absent. In that isolation, history is not just the past. It moves within the present, slipping through every corner of the yard and hallway. I felt drawn into a time spiral from which I could not escape, each step imprinting on the surface of history, the footsteps of those who could never leave. Time does not flow steadily in these places. It seems suspended in space, leaving unspeakable memories behind. Every stone, every bar of iron, every unvoiced footstep contributes to a dark yet mysterious picture. A vague sense of isolation, an abnormal presence that no one dares to name, creeps through each room, corridor, and every silence. Do you notice anything unusual in the atmosphere around these places? Is the past truly just the past, or is it still alive, watching, and waiting for someone to recognize that truth? 5. His Majesty's Theatre. The city center is perhaps the last place one would expect to find inexplicable tales. His Majesty's Theatre, a sanctuary of flourishing art, takes on its most mysterious guise in the late hours. When the stage lights had dimmed, I descended the stairs to the basement. Here, cold air crept through the old, worn cracks, paired with a faint, flickering light. Amid the distant echoes of past performances, suddenly there were soft footsteps, silent, origin unknown. People say they have seen a blurry figure dressed in white, faintly leaning past the reflective glass, while no one was nearby. The invisible sound was never chaotic. It was gentle, like a sorrowful melody, never ending. When I paused to listen carefully, uneven breathing joined with the wind, weaving the space into an invisible, restless loop. 6. Guildford Cemetery. Among moss-covered gravestones, beneath the shady canopy of trees, Guildford Cemetery serves as the final resting place for many generations. But when night falls, this place is no longer merely absolute silence. I once stood quietly beside a narrow path, my eyes scanning the thin mist resting on the ground. Fleeting movements flickered, not insects, nor wind. Someone was walking, yet left no footprints, made no sound, only a vague presence. When I softly called the name of someone on a nearby tombstone, the atmosphere seemed to pause for a moment. Perhaps they were listening, or maybe it was just my imagination. In any case, I could not close my eyes and forget the rise and fall of my own breath, nor the chill as if wakeful eyes had been watching through the darkness. 7. The Perth Mint. The gleaming basement and the chilly vault rooms of the Perth Mint hold not only gold and silver, but the dreams and ambitions of an era. I walked through each securely locked chamber, where time seemed to slow down strangely. The wind whispering through old ventilation shafts sounded like unintelligible murmurs. Lights flickered on the walls, not lamps, but invisible shapes darting, avoiding sight. Here, not fear, but a profound loneliness took hold. Each moment stretched, twisting all my thoughts into chaos, blurring the line between reality and the empty void within the mind. Do you think mysterious things only hide in remote outskirts, where silence reigns? Come with me beyond the city center, to the distant edges where darkness and stillness speak louder than light and noise. Places that once felt familiar and alive suddenly morph into uncertain realms, fragile boundaries where memory meets the present, where matter meets shadow. These wakeful eyes need not be ghosts. They may simply be reverberations of turbulent histories or subtle traces of time still unraveling. What do you think is the presence we sense amid the pulse of modern life? Is it real, or merely an echo from a memory yet to fade? If you could enter one of these places late at night, would you dare? 8. Alkimos Shipwreck. I stood before the wreck of the Alkimos, a derelict vessel stranded on the cold coast, a wall weathered by relentless storms. The hull was cloaked in moss and seaweed, its colors faded by the years. Whenever the sea breeze swept through, it wasn't just the ordinary sound of waves crashing. It was as if footsteps were guiding themselves up onto the deck. But when I glanced back, there was not a soul in sight. Locals say that on moonless nights, you can hear the creaking of wooden planks echoing like whispers from those who have long departed. Yet no one ever sees them, and the breeze never stirs the flag that I saw hanging in daylight. Alone amidst the faint, solitary murmur of the ocean, I felt the fragile edge of time, like the boundary between forgotten memories and a hazy reality dissolving into one another. 9. Woodman Point Quarantine Station. The ancient stone walls of Woodman Point Quarantine Station still hold tight their moss-covered bricks, alongside old, time-worn doors, weighted with years. Bathed in the golden hue of twilight, filtering through frosted windows, the space carries a mournful air, as if the whispered voices of exiles have never truly faded. At times, beneath the howling gusts squeezing through cracks, I even caught sounds resembling voices, not modern speech, but an ancient language, vague and restrained. Standing still, the quarantine hospital no longer felt like a soulless ruin, but a symbol of buried stories, quietly echoing from the depths of time. 10. Point Walter Reserve. By day, Point Walter Reserve overflows with birdsong and breezes caressing the surface of the Swan River. But when night descends, the place sheds its picturesque charm. There are darkened corners where light cannot penetrate the thin veil of mist. By pale moonlight, many have witnessed odd apparitions, as if memories of past days flicker, ghostly figures aimlessly wandering, lost travelers, and indistinct shapes gliding beyond the treetops. Here, time seems bent rather than flowing straight. Moments layer over moments, leaving faint cracks etched into the still surface of reality. 10 places, 10 restless stories, each a fragment of a shadowed history and unsettling wonder. But is that all? Have you ever wondered what unseen things, unheard whispers, wait in the darkness of Perth? Which place sends the coldest shiver down your spine? If you had to choose one spot to step into on a midnight walk, would you dare? The story of Perth never truly ends, and we have only scratched the surface of its unspeakable mysteries. Share your experiences and thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe and ring the bell so we can journey together into upcoming chapters, where darkness leads you deeper into hidden locales, where the line between reality and shadow fades ever thinner.